Well, good evening, everyone. Dr. Staci here. Welcome to our Tuesday night science and technology call. Or if you're watching the recording, congratulations to our guest. Thank you for being here this evening. You're going to learn some information about LifeWave's technology, how it works, how it can help you, and of course, answer those frequently asked questions. But before we get started, I am Dr. Staci, but I am not your doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. I have a PhD in integrative medicine and a PhD in functional medicine. I've spent pretty much my whole life living a holistic health, wellness lifestyle and have really just enjoyed living, learning, and experiencing all the things that alternative medicine has to offer. Not that there's not a place for allopathic medicine, of course there is. And if you have questions in regards to your health, what's going on with you, maybe medications, your issues, please always check with your healthcare practitioner or the person that's responsible for helping you with your health. But as always, your health is your responsibility. And so even though the information that I'm going to share with you tonight is not intended to make any claims to treat, prevent, cure, or diagnose anything, if you're pregnant or nursing, if this is for children, check with your healthcare practitioner. But for informational purposes, there may be a lot of things that you are going to find valuable for your specific situation, or maybe for somebody that you care about. This is really important. The first time that I found out about LifeWave, it wasn't for myself, it was actually for my daughter. And many of you that are on here tonight, you're thinking and have thought about other people in your life that you care about as well too. So keep an open mind, open ears, get your notebook ready. We're just going to do just a basic overview tonight. We talk a lot on here with different doctors and practitioners. We interview different people that are sharing their personal experiences, but sometimes we don't get to take that little deeper dive into the technology and really understanding how it works. And sometimes it's good to do that from time to time. I know next week we're starting already in August, back to school. So we're going to really focus in on immune function and boosting that immune system for those of you that have kids or grandkids that are back in school. And those little bugs are all around everywhere, but it's always interesting how some people don't ever seem to be affected by them and others do, because our immune systems are all different. So we'll be diving into that next week and actually throughout the month of August, as it's that back to school time of year, people getting back in their routines. So for tonight, I'm going to share with you about LifeWave's technology and how it works. And of course, like I said, those frequently asked questions that people have. But I want you to understand that when I found out about LifeWave, I already had a really strong background and understanding in stem cells and what stem cells did, and in holistic health and healing in many different modalities. I have a lot of tools in my toolbox before LifeWave came into my life 4 years ago. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I was immediately, just tell me how much it is and can I have it right now today? But for you, you may think, I don't know, this doesn't sound maybe it's too good to be true. Does it make sense to me? But the thing is, I want you to be open. I want you to have an open mind. It's okay if you're skeptical, if you want to question things, but I want you to think, gosh, what if this is something that could really make a difference in my life? Or what if this is something that could make a difference in someone's life that I care about? Would I be willing to hear the technology? Would I be willing to try to understand how this works in order to help someone? And that's always been my perspective through my journey with my daughter, was always just to go at it with an open mind. I don't know what these people know. I don't understand what they understand. But if it's something that can help my child, I'm willing to listen and I'm willing to try to learn to be able to make the best choices for my family.
These glasses are not a toy. Nobody believed me at first, but now everybody wants a pair. My friends roasted me for buying
and my son as well, of course, too, and myself and my husband. So I'm sure you're like that deep down, that you really want to be able to provide the best quality of life for yourself and for the people you care about. So with LifeWave's technology, the first thing I want you to understand is it's a patch. And it looks like this. It's smooth on one side and sticky on the other. And inside of this patch, this white cloth that's embedded in these two sides is what I'm going to be talking with you about tonight. So understand that this is non-transdermal. That's the first thing I want you to understand. So you're really most likely familiar with transdermal patches, like your smoker's patch, or your weight loss patch, or your pain patch, or your hormone patch. You put those types of patches on your body. They transfer, they're transdermal. They transfer some kind of medicine or chemical or nutrient, something through the skin. You know your skin is your largest organ. Everything you put on your body, you wash your hair with, you put on your face, your shower gels, your lotions, all of that, whatever those ingredients are made up of, they're entering through your pores, through your skin, into your body and impacting every single organ and cell in your body. So transdermal are the things that do that. This is non-transdermal. And what that means is this white part in the center that I'm going to talk to you about. When I put this patch on my skin, nothing enters. No medicine, no chemical, no herb, no nutrient, no supplement, no ingredients. People ask me all the time, what are the ingredients in the patches that are entering my body? Zero. No ingredients enter your body. So non-transdermal. If you can understand that, we're on our way. So then you're probably going, well, if nothing's entering the body, how is anything actually working? So let's talk a little bit about light therapy. I know you're familiar with light therapy. It's very common. We've all seen lasers, right? Red light laser, blue lights, cold lasers, from your acupuncturist to your chiropractors. We've seen red light therapy devices such as red light therapy pads or red light masks for the face, or maybe even ball caps for the hair. We've seen red light therapy beds. They look like tanning beds, but they're actually red light beds that you get into, and different wavelengths of light from those are going to impact your body. You're familiar with infrared saunas, I'm sure. It's different type of light therapy, different wavelengths of light that are entering the body, causing different types of responses inside, whether it's to detox or improve cardiovascular function or pain reduction. And then, of course, I know you're familiar with the sun. I live in Florida. You can tell I'm very familiar with the sun. The sun likes me. But we know that wavelengths of light from the sun enter our body. We don't see or feel them, but yet they're creating change. They're elevating vitamin D. They're elevating the melanin that gives us the dark protective color of our skin. So light, outside sources of light, lasers, saunas, red light therapy devices, sun, they all are forms of light therapy that are from the outside in. Okay, so we are different than that. We're similar in that we are a form of light technology, a light therapy, but we don't require any of those outside power sources. We are the power source for LifeWave's technology. So I get asked all the time, does this patch, does it work only in the daytime with the sun? The patch works no matter where you apply it to the body. It doesn't need to be seen because it's working with my body's own heat that I'm emitting, or the light that I'm emitting. Right now, the sun has went down here in Florida. It's going to be dark within the next 20-30 minutes, and I can go outside at night and I can see the animals or the neighbors down the street. If I had night vision goggles, I would see the outline, the thermal imaging, right? The heat coming off of people or animals. And so that is what this technology works with. So let's go back and understand that this is a non-transdermal patch. Nothing is entering my body when I apply this. This is a form of a wearable light technology that does not require any outside power source. I'm the power source. Okay, we've got that down. We understand. So what does it do? You may have been like, skip all that part. What does it do? Well, I want you to understand the mechanism behind it, because if you do, then you're going to see why this makes complete sense, that people get the results from this that they do versus other types of things out there that maybe they do some, but not all, or don't at all. So This is to be put on in the morning when you get up. This is the X39. This is LifeWave's flagship patch. You put it on when you're brushing your teeth in the morning. You can do the back of your neck. You can do below your belly button. I'm putting it here so you see it, but honestly, any place works. It does not matter where you apply the patch. The key is that you apply it to your body in the morning when you wake up, and you leave that on 12 hours. So what happens during that time? I don't see or feel anything when I put the patch on. Remember, I just got up, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm getting ready to go about my day. So nothing is happening, but something is happening on the inside. Immediately, a wavelength of light enters your body. So how does that happen? Remember I said there's this white part in the center? David Schmidt, the inventor of this technology, the owner of LifeWave's company, CEO, he has embedded in here, what he's invented, is a solution of molecules that form together in a very specific way, organic molecules that form a reflective lattice structure. That's in here. So when I put this on my body's heat or that light that I emit hits the patch and reflects back a specific wavelength of light. That wavelength of light, when I put this patch on, again, I'm not seeing or feeling the wavelength of light, but it immediately enters my body and elevates one specific peptide. So let's talk about peptides. You have thousands of them in your body. They're chains of proteins, amino acids. They're the building blocks of your body. You all have heard of collagen, right? Collagen peptides. We've heard of that. That's abundant in your body when you're younger, and after 18, it starts going downhill 1% every year. I'm sure a lot of you have heard recently of the GLP-1s, the GLP-2s, the GLP-3s. These are different forms of peptides that are doing something in your body. There's lots, again, thousands of peptides. Glutathione is a tripeptide. Carnosine is a dipeptide. Epithalamin is a peptide. They do all different things, but just know that peptides are the building blocks of your body. They're just chains of proteins, amino acids. But we're going to focus again tonight on one specific patch, the X39, and one specific peptide. And that is GHK-Cu copper peptide. So that peptide is like the superhero of all peptides. The biggest, baddest superhero out there. That's your Superman with all the powers. It does all the things. So if you're into superheroes or anything like that, then you know that that's the big one, right? But what does that mean in terms of your body? What does GHK mean in terms of being a superpower or a superhero? Well, it's a peptide, unfortunately, that declines as you age. And when you're young, you have an abundance of it, so it keeps you young and youthful. We call GHK-Cu copper peptide the fountain of youth. Believe me, there is a fountain of youth out there, and we've all experienced it that are using X39. What does GHK-Cu do in your body? It immediately upregulates or resets over 4,000 genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state. Again, I put this on in the morning when I get up. I don't see or feel anything, but that wavelength of light enters my body and elevates GHK-Cu copper peptide in my blood. How do we know this? Because we have double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical studies that state that that's exactly what we do. Our patent states, we have a patent on X39, that we elevate GHK in the blood and we activate stem cells. So after 10 years of research and 70 patents, David released the X39 stem cell activation patch 6 years ago. So this has a 20-year patent on it. We're in year 5 of that 20-year patent. So we prove that in the blood, we are elevating GHK. We are activating stem cells. We are up-regulating or resetting over 4,000 genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state. So people say, well, I didn't feel anything when I put it on. That's okay. You don't need to. That just happened. Literally, the moment you put the patch on, that started happening inside of your body and you didn't even feel it or know it. So what happens from there? Well, there's a lot of benefits from GHK, and for time purposes, I don't have time to get into all of those benefits, but I'll share a few with you. We know that GHK has tremendous benefits in the skin. That's where it's most commonly known. That's why we call it the fountain of youth, because GHK has been widely used in estheticians' offices, in their serums, in their creams, in their lotions that they're putting in on people's faces. They get rid of the lines and the wrinkles and the sagginess and the crepiness and the spots. GHK is a powerful peptide, again, in that fountain of youth topically, but we're elevating in the blood. So that means it's going to turn on the body's ability inside to be able to create that fountain of youth as well. So we can see not only, like I said, the resetting or upregulating of over 4,000 genes, we also see things start to happen in the cardiovascular system, the neurological system. We can see the body healing faster. GHK is a powerful peptide to reduce the amount of healing after, say, an accident or an injury, like a break or a surgery. Our surgeons report 40 to 50% reduction in the healing time from a surgery. So if that's happening post-op, what do you think's happening on a daily basis? Again, whether you can feel it or not, GHK as a peptide is so powerful in helping the body to repair. Not just on the outside if you get a cut, but on the inside if you get a break, or on the inside if you have a system or an organ or a cell that's not functioning correctly. Like I said, GHK declines in its ability as we age. By the time you're in your 60s, there's only about 20% of that GHK that's actually active in your blood. Hence the aging process, and that's why we call it the fountain of youth, right? Because it restores that to the body. We can see improvements in our mental clarity, in our concentration, in our focus, in our cognition, our memory. Looking at our brain scans, we actually study people looking at EEGs and brain mapping, and we can see some changes even as early on as 3 weeks. But really, when you look at 6 weeks, the scans look pretty remarkably different. You may not feel any of those things happening in your brain, but they are changing and they are measurable amongst a very large population of people. We can see cardiovascular benefits when you elevate GHK. At 6 weeks, we can see that vascular system functioning 8 weeks younger. So 6 weeks into patching, you're like, I'm not feeling anything. I don't know what's really happening. I can't tell if anything's happening at all. But we can see in clinical studies that the entire vascular system, all of your vessels throughout your whole body, and obviously the ones running through your heart, are functioning 8 weeks younger. That means increased blood flow, increased oxygenation, circulation, movement throughout the body is happening in your circulatory, in your vascular system. And that's as early as 6 weeks. We can see improvements in people's digestive systems, their immune systems. When you elevate GHK, we're elevating glutathione by about 30%. And so that starts to impact that gut, right? Where your immune system's housed, and your digestive system really starts to feel those impacts again around that 6+ week mark using the X39. We can see improvements in our sleep. We know that X39 elevates GABA. And again, you put this on in the morning when you get up, you leave this patch on 12 hours, and then you take it off and you throw it away. But because it's elevating GABA, and it works with obviously your body's circadian rhythm, that happens at night. That elevation of GABA helps to relax the body. So people do notice a deeper sleep or a better quality of sleep when they're sleeping. Doesn't mean it's happening on day one. Sometimes it does. But we see that again, that post 6 week mark, really things start to happen. We can see people having pain reduction. And again, you can put it on any location. So if you're like, oh, my back hurts, well, stick the patch on your back. It's totally fine. You can do that. But you don't have to. You can put the patch anywhere you want. It works again systemically throughout the whole body. Your whole body is emitting heat or light, and so it's working no matter where you apply the patch. I can put it right here, and it's still going to impact my entire vascular system. My entire neurological system is going to be impacted just by putting it here. I'm putting it here again so you can see it. Everyone always asks, what patch is that? It's the one I pick up. So today we'll pretend like it's X39. I'm sure that's what I picked up. But this patch is here because you can see it. I know when Laura and I hopped on Zoom, she had one on the side of her neck so the people that she was Zooming with could see the patch because her shirt goes up a little bit higher. So it doesn't have to be seen though. Again, we do that just so you guys can have a visual. But knowing that it's impacting inside of my body, improving my quality of sleep, reducing my pain, helping me to improve my mental clarity, physical energy, all of this is happening. And again, you may not feel it from day one, but maybe you do. Some people are one patch wonders. I don't know. I'll tell you this, there's no rhyme or reason. People will say all the time, oh, she's so sick. He's so sick. They have so many problems. That's why they feel things so fast. I'm like, nope, doesn't work that way. And then they'll say, well, maybe it's because this person's really, really old. And that's why they're feeling things fast because they're older and they have nothing going on in their body. Nope, doesn't work that way either. Across the board, I'm 4 years into patching. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of testimonials I've heard over the 4 years. And there's no rhyme or reason to who feels what better, who feels what first, what experiences people have are very individual. Here's the beautiful thing about this. When you elevate your own GHK with this patch, that peptide, the chain reaction, the chemical, biochemical responses inside of the body, they go right to the mitochondria, increasing the ATP or the energy from the cells. Your body knows what to do. When that peptide comes back online, your body knows what to do. And so it will start to set things in motion to help bring the body into balance. So we're all going to feel and notice something different at different times and at different points throughout our healing and patching journey. Something people notice around 3 months, so 90 days in, is that increase in collagen production. Remember earlier I said collagen peptides. That is a very common peptide that everyone knows. Well, when you elevate GHK, you again activate the body's ability to increase its collagen production. And so that is really starting to be noticeable around 90 days. So make sure you take your before and after pictures. Start taking pictures of any scars or any moles that you have, not just your face, not just your front and side profile, because people notice things a lot differently. Like, for example, can you see this little dot right here on my arm? When I was in middle school, we used to curl our hair with the big curling iron, and I turned to talk to my brother and it fell and landed on my arm. There was a dime size scar since I was 13 years old on this arm. You can see what it looks like now. It's this little tiny pinpoint right there. Literally, you can barely even see it looking at it. That was the size of a dime. I watched that get smaller and smaller and smaller and fade. I had a C-section almost 21 years ago now with Dre that had bumpy parts to it all the way throughout it. They call that like keloids, where there was bumpy parts to that C-section. You know, when they cut you open, they're just like, meh, whatever. We'll throw it back together. Just get the kid out safely. So it was always that way until patching. Collagen production on the inside of my body and the outside of my body, repair that to where you can't even see that scar. There are no bumps, no keloids throughout that entire incision anymore at all. I even had a massage not too long ago by a lymphatic drainage massage therapist. And she asked me, she said, did you have a C-section? And I said, yeah. She said, I would have, without seeing, because she was doing the stomach part, lymphatic, there's tons of lymph nodes in your stomach. She said, if I hadn't have actually gotten down and looked close, I could not even tell that you had a C-section. There's barely a visible line here. And I'm like, well, it's these patches that I've been using now for several years. So lots of benefits are kicking in again around that 3-month mark. Maybe you felt something, maybe you haven't. We're all different. But know this, people ask me all the time, does it work for this issue? Does it work for that issue? Does it work for A, B, C, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3? The answer is yes. 100% without a shadow of a doubt, yes. If you stay consistent with patching. So 3 months, keep going. 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months. At least give it 1 month for every decade you are old to wake up all of your body's dormant stem cells. Why do we keep patching? Because it takes time. We cannot expect 30 years or like I had 20 years, right? Since I had that C-section, or God, what was that? 35 years since I had that scar on my arm. I can't expect those things to go away in 30 days or 90 days or, even 6 months. We have to give our body time to prioritize. I interviewed a lady today and she was sharing with me that her husband had a really bad back pain, bad. And that's why he was patching. Well, he also had an abscess in his tooth. And he was not even thinking about that at all, but he started noticing his tooth was no longer loose anymore. And he hadn't been to the dentist in 2 years, so they went back, did repeat x-rays, and abscess gone, tooth strong, wasn't loose anymore, looked like a completely different tooth. The dentist thought it was a different tooth completely. But it was 7 months. He's not 70, he's 30. But he kept patching because he was hoping to get rid of the back pain, which he has since gotten rid of that. But we never know what our body's doing. So we have to be patient with the process. And that's always the second question that people ask me. How long is it going to take? And you've heard me tonight say time.
Teenagers are building businesses with AI, while the only AI you know is ChatGPT. Let's be real. Most people
Time and time and time. I don't know your body's healing journey. Your body is different than mine, than the other 400 people that are on this Zoom, than the other thousands of people that are going to watch this recording. We are all very different, and no one person will heal the same physically, mentally, emotionally. We will all function and heal differently. So we have to be patient with the process, and we have to stay hydrated through the process. And of course, we just wrapped up our 4-week segment on cellules, which is very powerful. If you have not seen any of those, please go back to my YouTube and rewatch them. Make sure that you're getting all the nutrients that you need, those precursors to really help these peptides do the best they can in your body. We know people are dehydrated, and we know they're nutrient deficient, and we know they are toxic. This technology is going to help you by helping you to get rid of toxins, to eliminate those toxins safely. It's going to help you to boost your immune system. It's going to help you to be able to get your body back in balance. But you have to give it the things that it needs. Proper hydration, proper nutrients. You need to get good quality sleep. You need to do something for your stress, something to help your body physically, mentally, and emotionally deal with the stress that we have in our lives today. You got to have some kind of movement. You need to be active. Good quality sleep, good nutrition are all key components. But if that's not you and you're not in that place right now, it's okay. You can still get results from the patches. Just make a conscious effort every day to do the best that you can, adding maybe one new habit in a day, like drinking half your body weight in ounces, putting some cellules into your water to be able to help give you those precursors you need, all the nutrients you need so your body can function correctly. And know that you will be able to check the things off your list so that you will have a better quality of life. So what I want you to do now is to get back with the person that invited you. They're going to talk to you more in depth about what's going on with you and, of course, make the suggestions and recommendations, not only for the X39, but probably the Eon and maybe another patch or two for you down the road as well that would help you in your healing journey. So know that we are here to help you, support you, and we are here to help your friends and family and support them in their journey as well, too. We don't want just one person in the family living their best quality of life. We want everyone to live their best quality of life. and know that we're all connected and we all work together to support you in this journey. So get back with that person, tell them what your needs are, what we can do to help. They'll help you get set up with the wholesale pack that works best for you. And join me back again here next Tuesday. As I said, we're going to take a deep dive for the next several weeks into boosting your immune system and the patches that are going to benefit and support your immune system through not only August back to school time, but also going in through the fall and winter months. So you don't have to experience any downtime or any illnesses over these next several months that people normally do come fall. You'll be able to feel amazing and not only have a strong immune system, but also be able to do all the other things that you're wanting to throughout your LifeWave journey to improve your quality of life. So thank you all for being here this evening, and I look forward to seeing you on a Zoom again soon. Have a good evening.